Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so sorry for leaving y'all hanging like that. I'm still working on being more consistent, but yeah, my last video was like 8 months ago, but we're working on that, right? So in the last video, I did want to at least like follow up on that because I kind of left everyone hanging. But so I went to the Schomburg, right, in the last video, because I wanted to try and do some research on local Black newspapers in New York City that maybe I just wasn't aware of. Because in fact, when I thought about it, I didn't know of any like historical or like, Black newspapers from New York. So I was like, okay, that's something I need to look into. So I brought my little notebook and I made some notes, and as you can see, it's quite a few pages. I learned quite a bit that day. I didn't, find anything that was like, oh, my ancestors in here, but for like a good foundation and a good resource, it was a very productive day in the world of Black newspapers. So a lot of this, just to give some like overview, I'm not going to read all of this. I don't want to bore people with details, but if you're interested in this research, a lot of this came from something called the extant collections of early Black newspapers from 1880 to 1915. It was published in 1981 by a woman named Georgetta Merritt Campbell, who, fun fact, is actually from Montclair, New Jersey. I learned that the first Black newspaper, or the first known Black newspaper in the United States, was called Freedom's Journal in New York City. It was published in 1827. And what's funny is this very day that I learned about this, I was walking around Harlem, and they have these, it used to be like where old telephone posts used to be, or telephone booths used to be. They've turned them into these like slideshow like of history type of thing. And funny enough, they talked about this first Black newspaper in the United States, like the Freedom's Journal, the very same day like I learned about it. And it was like really cool to be able to recognize that. So that was actually kind of like synchronicity, I guess. So the Afro-American, there was something called Afro-American Heritage Collections. And they are collections that some institutes have that include back files of Black newspapers. And this is good to know if you are, again, looking for old newspapers. There are some state universities in particular. So, for example, in Alabama, Tuskegee, Stillman College, they would have the Afro-American Heritage Collection. Georgia would have, it's in Spelman, Morris Brown, Morehouse, Clark College, and then Payne College. They also have these collections. Louisiana, Dillard, Xavier, Michigan, University of Detroit, Mississippi, Tougaloo College, and so forth and so on. So another great resource, if you're in any of these institutions or nearby, you can look into their Afro-American Heritage Collections, and they will have a list of old newspapers. Granted, this information is from a 1981 publication, so take that, into consideration. Then the other source of my information came from the thesis paper of a one Armistead Pribble. I don't know, I kind of jacked up right in the last name, or maybe it's Armistead Pride, but AP for short. They did a thesis and they uncovered like a whole slew of Black newspapers that people didn't even know existed. So that's where the rest of this information comes from. All of this, I didn't obviously write every single state that was on here, but states that were kind of of interest to me or people that I know, I wrote down. So for example, Mississippi, there was a free state. It was called the Free State. in the town of Brandon, Mississippi. And then I put these little letters on here to my, like a note to myself. I'm not sure what I was trying to say. I think they're still in publication or something like that. But nonetheless, the Golden Rule, that was out of Vicksburg, New Jersey, still has the Echo in Red Bank, which is the oldest newspaper in New Jersey. The Sentinel in Trenton, New York had the New York Age, the Freeman, New York Amsterdam News. I did know about the New York Amsterdam News. I don't think I knew it as a historical Black newspaper, but maybe there was one also called the New York Amsterdam News, and that's separate from the one I knew about. But I was successful in my mission, right? I wanted to learn about old Black newspapers in New York, and I did find some. In North Carolina, there was the Afro-American Presbyterian out of Charlotte, the Star of Zion, that was also out of Charlotte, the Golden Rule, and the People's Advocate. I mean, on and on. Pennsylvania had the Defender, the Oddfellows Journal. Most of those came out of Philly. Obviously, there was a Pittsburgh Courier, but that may not be obvious to everyone. I just, I be nerding out on this stuff. And I do like the city of Pittsburgh. It's a really cool city. But the Pittsburgh Courier was the Black newspaper of Pittsburgh. And I believe the Pittsburgh Courier is still around. In Baltimore, it was the Afro. And those newspapers, like the Pittsburgh Courier and the Afro, they are good for pretty much anyone because they weren't necessarily limited to the locality. So they would report on, Black news from other states and other cities. So also worth looking into those. But yeah, South Carolina, Rock Hill Messenger. Virginia had plenty. The National Pilot, the Negro Advocate out of Richmond, the Midland Express. I mean, it kind of blew my mind, what I learned. So I just wanted to share that. I learned Mississippi. I have a note here. It says Black people in Mississippi created over 400 journals between 1867, it looks like, to 1985. So this was my whole list of Mississippi stuff. Mississippi had a lot. So yeah, I just wanted to come back and share with you what I found, let you know it was a successful trip. I didn't just go there and goof around. I got some work done, learned some great stuff, and I'm hoping that this will be helpful for my research or someone else's research. So if there's any state, like I said, I didn't copy every single state, but, if there's a state that you might be interested in, hit me up, let me know. And if I have it here, I can, I'll share it with you, and just try and point you in the right direction to the extent that I'm able to. So, but thank you for watching. And I'm working on being more consistent, but it's tough working full time. And like most genealogists, I am doing I work on different projects and stuff like that. So stay tuned for something else I want to talk about. I am working on a website, and I'll talk about that in a different video. But thank you for watching, and stay curious. Bye.